Hello and thank you for joining me today. I'm Jan Clothier of Thinking Stamping and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in New Zealand. And today I'm going to be sharing with you how I made this card using the On the Ocean set from the January to April 2023 mini catalogue. Now if you've followed me, you'll know that this is an unusual stamp set for me, like flowers, leaves, bees, nature. I'm all over it. But I suppose perhaps it's finally being in possession of a grandchild made me start looking at some other sets differently. And I really just liked the look of this On the Ocean set. And it bundles with the On the Ocean dies, although we don't need them for this particular card. I haven't had much of a play with this bundle because it only just arrived, so I'll show you the things I have done. First of all, I had to have a full-on play with the dies, and you can see it makes this beautiful sailing ship and all these beautiful waves that you can do. And then I had, for my second play, I went, okay, well, what can I do with just the stamps? And so I made this little one. And that got me thinking of, well, instead of perhaps a stencil background, what would happen if I created a sunset scene? And that got me to this card, which I'm going to share with you today. Now, we'll crack on in a moment and I'll show you what you need and how I made it. If you live in New Zealand and you see anything that I use today and you'd like to add that to your craft collection, of course, you're more than welcome to shop with me, and there's a link to my online store in the video description below and through the details at the end card of this video. Right, so what do you need to make this card? Well, obviously you need the On the Ocean, at least the On the Ocean stamp set. In terms of materials, it's actually pretty light. I've got my card base. I've used Starry Sky for my card base. It is a standard card base size for me, so half an A4 sheet of paper, so it's 21 centimetres wide, scored at 10.5, and I've cut that at 14.8. Now, if you're not a metrics person, then this is a standard size card base for me, so, you know, do your standard size card base and just alter accordingly. And you also need 2 pieces of basic white, and I've cut those half a centimetre smaller, so that's 10 centimetres that way, 14.3 that way. One's for the front, one's for the inside. Don't need that now, pop it aside. All the action happens on this one. So really it's very light on materials, but you do need some other things, and you need something to make a mask with. So what I've done is I have just cut a circle out of a piece of, whoops, didn't clean my cutting plate. Okay, I've just cut a circle out of a piece of basic white cardstock, which is just slightly larger than my piece of card front. And the reason I've made that larger is just so that I make sure that I don't get any ink onto the front where I don't want it. So I mean, I've had a little bit of think about where I put it, where I cut the hole, so I know that the hole is in the right place. Okay, so I'm just going to tape that on, just so the mask stays in place while I'm working. Okay. Just making sure I have in fact got that the right way, because I've got it slightly lower at the bottom. It's not quite dead center, it's a little bit lower. Now the other thing I've got is I've taken some of the masking paper and I'm just going to cut a circle out of that. I've got a 1-inch punch here, but if you don't have a 1-inch punch, then you could use like the smallest. You could equally, I used the largest to cut the big circle, you could use the small one to cut a moon shape. And I'm just going to pop that onto my circle so that I get a moon when I'm finished. And I'm just going to now use a couple of post-it notes just to hold my card onto my desk. I could also have used post-it notes instead of washi tape to hold that on. Now, starting the actual work. So I'm going to create this horizon line by placing a post-it note about just under halfway. Okay. And then I'm just going to start blending. Now I'm using 3 colours today. I'm using So Saffron, Calypso Coral and a little bit of Starry Sky. And I've got my blending brushes at the ready. So I'm going to start with the lightest colour, which is So Saffron. I'm just going to ink it up and I'm just going to circle my way onto my shape. Now, the thing about your sunset is that you can make it as light or as dark as you want. So just work in some yellow, some So Saffron, until you think you're happy with the depth. And then we're going to move on to the second colour. I may or may not be finished with that because I'm going to try and make sure I don't get a harsh transition line. So I may have to come back and add in a bit more. And you see I'm just going over that little masked circle that we popped in there. And I'm also making sure that I'm going over some of the So Saffron that we've already used. Okay, and then I'm going to add in a touch of Starry Sky at the top, just to give the illusion of the falling night sky. And now I'm going to come back in and do a bit more because I do not like, I don't want a harsh transition like that. I want it to look a bit softer. So I'm going to come in here again. Just going over the blue a bit. And then I'm going to come in with a little bit more soft saffron. And I'm even going to go a little bit so soft saffron over everything almost. I don't want to turn the blue sky totally green either. Okay, when you think you're happy with your night sky, then we're going to lift this off, this horizon line mask. And we're just going to switch it over, try and get it on pretty much the same line. And now I'm going to put the colours in reverse and a bit softer to create a reflection in the water. So I want some yellow, some So Saffron. And I'm deliberately making it a bit softer because we're reflecting in the water. It's not the full-on glare of the setting sun. I'm just going to change my brush here to the smaller blending brush. You can see these are the new small mini blending brushes. You can see the difference in size. I'm just going to switch to that one. And a little bit of Calypso Coral. And finally, a wee touch of the Starry Sky at the bottom. And I don't mind if I have a bit more of that because in this case it's being water and not being the night sky. And again, I'm just going to go back in there and just pep up. I think I'll just pep up a bit more yellow. And maybe just a tiniest touch more Calypso Coral. Okay. The thing about when you're creating a sort of a spongy thing like this is you just keep on going and adding in the colours until, you're happy with what you've got. Okay, so hopefully I'm happy with what I've got. Time will tell. Okay, so we can whip off our dividing line. Whoops, take away our mask, and this is the moment when we start to discover if things have gone awry. You shall just remove that washi tape. Oops. Forgot to do it at a lovely 45-degree angle, which helps it come off nicely. And final moment of truth, have we got a nice moon lurking under here? And the answer is yes, we do. Okay, so that's all the hard work done, and then of course the truly testing moment comes when we do the stamping. So I'm going to take my pirate ship, and am I going to ink it up carefully because I do not want a disastrous image. I suppose, you know, at this point, if you had a stamparatus and you were worried that you weren't going to get a really good impression with your pirate ship, you could set up stamparatus to do that. I'm just going to have a little bit of faith. Okay, line it up, press firmly, evenly, count to 10 so the ink's got time to transfer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1 for luck. And there we have our beautiful little pirate ship. Now I love this stamp, which is the ocean stamp. You can see it here. It's a distinctive stamp and it's just beautiful. So again, we're going to ink it up because we've only got one shot at this. And same deal, I'm just going to bring it down here so I can see it a bit better. And firmly, evenly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1 for luck. Yes, lovely. Right, now the third time where we have to be a little bit brave is with the sentiment, because directly stamping it on, and you always have to be a little bit brave about that. Okay, so first of all, let's test that it's the right way up. Yes, okay. Now, beautiful. Okay. And then it simply is a matter of attaching it to our card front, and it is actually as simple as that. Oops. It's as simple as that if the glue comes out. Okay, there we go. Nice little thread around the edge. Get rid of any blobs. Bit of a drizzle in the middle. And here we go. And as you can see, they don't turn out exactly the same. You can see that there's a bit of difference in the way the sunset looks. Obviously, when I stamped my pirate ship here, I stamped it a bit lower down, so my ocean's a bit further down. You know, you do get variations, that's just normal. I haven't added any embellishment because I just felt that it was pretty enough like it is. I'll just show you what I did on the inside of this card. I just added in the pirate ship and the ocean in Starry Sky. Obviously you could do whatever you want to on the inside, but anyway, I hope you've enjoyed watching how I made that card, and I hope you're going to give it a go yourself. And don't forget, if you live in New Zealand and you would like to buy any of the materials that I've used today, there is a link to my online store below. As always, I'm more than happy to answer any questions, and you can contact me through my blog or my Jan Clothier Independent Stampin' Up Demonstrator Facebook page. If you've liked what you've seen and you haven't subscribed, please do so you don't miss anything that I do later. And happy stamping, everyone.